The story begins in absolute stillness. Not the kind of silence that feels empty, but the kind that feels heavy, as if time itself has been holding its breath. The abandoned barn stands quietly, its wooden walls warped by decades of weather, its roof sagging under the weight of forgotten years. Dust floats freely in the air, illuminated by thin blades of sunlight that slick through cracks in the structure. Every step inside echoes softly, amplified by the emptiness. At the center of the barn, something sits hidden beneath a torn, sun-bleached canvas. The shape is unfamiliar at first, long, low, and unnaturally elegant compared to the broken farm equipment scattered around it. The cloth barely clings to the metal beneath, disturbed only by the faint movement of air. This is not how legends are meant to be found. As the fabric is slowly pulled back, time seems to reverse. The sound of the canvas sliding across oxidized aluminum becomes the first voice this car has had in decades. Dust falls away in waves. Beneath it lies a 1932 Bugatti Atlantic, one of the rarest and most mysterious automobiles ever created. Even in decay, its silhouette is unmistakable. The dramatic curves, the elongated hood, the signature riveted spine running down the center all remain, scarred but proud. Rust has eaten into the body. Paint has cracked and peeled away. The metal wears the marks of abandonment like old wounds. But despite everything, the car still commands respect. This is not just a vehicle. It is a survivor. A machine that once represented the absolute peak of engineering, design, and wealth during a golden age of motoring. The discovery feels unreal. Cars like this do not simply disappear into barns. They belong in museums, private collections, or history books. Yet here it is forgotten, neglected, and purchased for just $1,000. The price feels almost offensive when weighed against the car's legacy. But it also adds to the myth, the idea that something priceless could be overlooked for so long. Inside the cabin, decay tells its own story. The leather seats are cracked and brittle, torn by time rather than use. The steering wheel is coated in dust so thick it softens its shape. Spider webs stretch between gauges that once measured speed and power with surgical precision. The dashboard is silent, frozen at the moment it was last shut off decades ago. This key point is not just about discovery, it is about disbelief. It's about standing face to face with history in its most vulnerable form. The car is no longer fast, no longer beautiful in the conventional sense. But it carries a presence that modern machines cannot replicate. This moment sets the emotional foundation for everything that follows. The realization that this legend is not dead only waiting. The restoration begins not with noise, but with intention. Bright workshop lights replace the dim sunlight of the barn, revealing every flaw, every crack, every scar the Bugatti has accumulated over time. Tools are laid out carefully, not rushed, not excessive. This is not a repair, it is a resurrection. The first bolt resists. Years of corrosion have fused metal to metal. The wrench tightens, pressure builds. Then, with a sharp mechanical crack, it breaks free. That sound marks the true beginning of the restoration. Piece by piece, the car is dismantled, each component handled as though it were irreplaceable. Because it is. Body panels are removed slowly. Rust flakes fall like dry leaves. Beneath the corrosion, traces of craftsmanship begin to emerge. The aluminum panels, once hand-shaped by artisans, are fragile but still responsive. Sanding reveals raw metal. Grinding removes decades of neglect. Each motion produces a sound that feels deliberate, almost calming. The engine is the heart of this phase. A legendary straight-eight, silent and seized, coated in oil and grime. As it's lifted from the frame, chains tighten and metal shifts with a deep, heavy realism. Once separated, the engine reveals its complexity: pistons frozen in place, valves coated in carbon, bearings worn by time rather than miles. Cleaning begins slowly. Brushes scrape away hardened grease. Compressed air blasts dirt from hidden passages. Parts are soaked, polished, measured. Pistons are freed. Rings replaced. Every component is inspected, restored, or recreated to original specifications. No shortcuts are taken. This engine must not only run it, must run as it once did. The body restoration is equally demanding. The iconic Atlantic curves are reshaped by hand. Hammer taps echo softly through the workshop. Rivets along the central spine are placed one by one, restoring the car's most recognizable feature. The frame is stripped bare and sandblasted, revealing clean steel beneath decades of decay. Painting is a moment of transformation. The deep Bugatti Blue is applied slowly, evenly, layer by layer. Each pass of the spray gun brings the car closer to its former glory. The paint settles like liquid glass, reflecting light with newfound confidence. For the first time, the Bugatti begins to look alive again. Inside, the interior is reborn. New leather is stitched by hand, following original patterns. Wood trim is polished until it glows. Gauges are rebuilt, their needles once again responsive. This phase is about respect, honoring the craftsmanship of the past with the patience of the present. This key point represents the soul of the story. It is where effort replaces decay, where silence becomes rhythm, and where history is rebuilt not with force, but with care. The final assembly is quiet, focused, almost ceremonial. The restored engine is lowered back into the frame. Bolts are torqued precisely. Wiring is routed cleanly. Fluids are added carefully. Every step feels heavier now, because everything is at stake. The key rests in the ignition. It looks small for such a monumental task. The workshop is silent once again, echoing the silence of the barn where the car was first found. A pause, a breath. The key turns. The starter engages. For a moment, nothing happens. Then the engine coughs, once, twice, and then it catches. The sound is deep, smooth, and unmistakably mechanical. Oil pressure rises. The engine settles into a steady idle. The Bugatti is no longer a relic. It is alive. The moment is not loud, not chaotic. It is controlled, refined, and emotional. As the car rolls forward, tires whisper against the floor. The workshop door opens, flooding the space with sunlight. The deep blue paint reflects the world outside, no longer hiding from it. The Bugatti moves slowly, confidently, as if aware of its own rebirth. This final key point is about payoff, about proving that patience, skill, and respect can bring legends back from silence. The car that was once abandoned for $1,000 now stands as a living masterpiece, not because of its value, but because of its story. The emblem catches the light one last time. History breathes again.